Min-jae's lips traced a path down Zara's neck, his breath hot against her skin as his hands mapped her body like he was memorizing every curve. She arched beneath him, fingers tangled in his hair, heart racing so fast she thought it might burst from her chest. "Sarangi," he whispered against her collarbone, voice raw with emotion. "I love you, Zara. God help me, I love you." The words made her shatter and soar at once. This was her first time, and he was making it perfect. Gentle and passionate, tender and consuming. The hotel room felt like their own world, nothing existing beyond the two of them and the connection burning between them. "I love you too," she breathed as he pushed inside her, his eyes locked on hers, holding her through the pain until it bloomed into pleasure. He made love to her twice that night, each time whispering promises in Korean and English, each touch reverent like she was something sacred. When they finally collapsed together, tangled in expensive sheets, she felt complete for the first time in her life. "Stay," he murmured as dawn crept through the windows, pulling her closer. "Don't leave yet." So she stayed, dozed in his arms, safe and wanted and finally whole. She woke to an empty bed. And words that would destroy her. "Last night was a mistake. I'm gay, Zara. I'm getting married next week. To a man. Last night was just a test. But let's go back to where this all started, 3 months earlier. If you're already hooked, hit that subscribe button and let me know which country you're watching from, because this story is about to get wild." The sole office of Hanseong architecture was silent except for the soft patter of rain against floor-to-ceiling windows. Zara had been in Korea for 8 months, and she still wasn't used to how the city looked at night, all neon and glittering darkness, beautiful and lonely at once. "You're still here." She jumped, spinning in her chair. Min-jae stood in the doorway of the conference room, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up over forearms that had no business being that distracting. He'd been avoiding her for weeks. Ever since that moment in the elevator when their hands had brushed reaching for the same button and the air between them had turned electric. "The Kim presentation is tomorrow," she said, forcing her voice steady. "Someone has to make sure the renders are perfect." "It's midnight, Zara." He moved into the room, and she tried not to notice how he moved, all quiet grace and coiled tension. "Even you need sleep." "I could say the same to you." The corner of his mouth lifted, almost a smile. It transformed his usually severe face into something that made her chest tight. "Touché." He settled into the chair across from her, close enough that she could see the faint scar above his eyebrow, the one she'd wondered about 100 times. Close enough to be dangerous. "You've been avoiding me," Zara said before she could stop herself. His eyes met hers, and there it was again. That current, that pull, that unnamed thing that had been building between them since her first week. "Yes." "Why?" "Because you're dangerous." His voice dropped lower, intimate in the darkness. "Because every time I'm near you, I forget how to think. Because you make me want things I can't have." Her breath caught. "Min-jae. Don't." He stood abruptly, moved to the windows. Rain streaked down the glass like tears. "I shouldn't have said that." "Forget it." But she couldn't. She stood, crossed to him, her hand hovering near his shoulder. "What if I don't want to forget it?" He turned, and the look on his face nearly undid her. Hunger and fear and something almost like pain. "You don't know what you're asking." "Then tell me." For a moment, she thought he would. His hand came up, fingers brushing her jaw so gently she almost sobbed. Then his phone buzzed. He stepped back like she'd burned him, checked the screen, and something shuddered in his expression. "I have to go," he said, voice flat. "Get some rest, Zara. I'll see you tomorrow." He was gone before she could respond, leaving her standing alone with her heart pounding and her skin still tingling from his touch. The Kim presentation went flawlessly. Zara watched Min-jae command the room with quiet authority, watched the clients nod and smile, watched him be brilliant and untouchable. When it was over, their boss suggested drinks to celebrate. Min-jae declined. He always declined. But as everyone filtered out, he caught Zara's wrist, his grip gentle but firm. Come with me. Where? Do you trust me? She should have said no. Should have remembered that he'd called her dangerous, that he'd run away last night. But she found herself nodding, found herself following him out of the building and into his car, a sleek black sedan that smelled like leather and him. He drove in silence through Seoul's glittering streets, up into the hills overlooking the city. When he finally stopped, they were at a small pojangmaka, a street food tent tucked away where tourists never ventured. You said once you missed Seoul food, he said quietly, holding open the tent flap. I can't give you that. But a jumma here makes the best comfort food in Seoul. Something in Zara's chest cracked open. He'd remembered. He'd listened. Inside, the owner took one look at them and beamed, launching into rapid Korean. Min-jae responded, and Zara caught enough to know he was ordering for both of them. They settled onto plastic stools, knees almost touching in the cramped space. Thank you, Zara said softly. For remembering. For this. He looked at her then, really looked at her, and the intensity in his gaze made her forget how to breathe. I remember everything you've ever told me. What you miss about home. How you take your coffee. That you bite your lip when you're concentrating. That you hum when you think no one is listening. Min-jae. His name came out like a prayer. The food arrived, steaming bowls of kimchi jjigae and pajeon, soju in small green bottles. They ate, and somewhere between the second and third bottle, the walls between them crumbled. Why did you come to Korea? He asked. To escape. The soju made her honest. Bad breakup. Needed somewhere completely different. Somewhere I could be someone new. And are you? Someone new? I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm just the same broken person in a different place. She laughed, but it came out sad. Your turn. Why architecture? His jaw tightened. It was expected. My family is traditional. Powerful. My father built half of Seoul. I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. Not for people like me. Something dark crossed his face. Not when your whole life is mapped out before you're old enough to know you might want something different. What do you want? Zara asked, emboldened by soju and the way he was looking at her. Right now? His hand moved across the small table, fingers threading through hers. This. You. Something real in a life full of pretense. Her heart was a drum, wild and loud. Min-jae, I know all the reasons this is a bad idea, he interrupted. I know I should stay away from you. But God, Zara, I'm so tired of denying what I feel. Then don't. The words hung between them, an invitation and a dare. His thumb traced circles on her palm, such a small touch but it set her entire body on fire. If we do this, he said slowly, there's no going back. I won't be able to pretend I don't want you. Won't be able to keep my distance. Good, she whispered. I don't want distance. I want you. He paid quickly, pulled her up and out into the night. Rain had started again, soft and warm, and he backed her against his car, his body a wall of heat against hers. Last chance to run, he murmured, face inches from hers. I'm not running. He kissed her, and the world tilted. His mouth was soft and demanding at once, tasting of soju and rain and want. Her fingers tangled in his hair, and he groaned against her lips, deepening the kiss until she was drowning in him. Come with me, he managed between kisses. Let me take you somewhere we can be alone. She should have been cautious. Should have thought it through. But she'd been thinking for 8 months, been careful and professional and lonely. Tonight, she just wanted to feel. Yes. If you're already feeling the chemistry, drop a like and let me know in the comments what you think happens next. He drove them to a hotel in Gangnam, upscale and discreet. The room was beautiful, all clean lines and city views, but Zara barely saw it. He had her in his arms the moment the door closed, kissing her like a man starved, and she matched him desperate touch for desperate touch. Zara. Her name sounded like reverence on his lips. Are you sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything. He pulled back slightly, searched her face. I need you to understand something. This isn't casual for me. I don't do this. Don't bring women to hotels, don't let myself feel this way. You're different. You matter. You matter to me too, she whispered. He kissed her again, slower this time, walking her backward toward the bed. When they reached it, he sat down and pulled her between his legs, hands settling on her hips. Tell me if you want to stop, he said, fingers finding the hem of her blouse. At any point. We can slow down. I don't want to slow down. But her hands trembled as she reached for his shirt buttons. He noticed, caught her hands gently. Why are you shaking? Heat flooded her cheeks. I've never, this would be my first time. His eyes widened, darkened. Zara, are you sure? I don't want you to regret this. The only thing I'd regret is not doing this. Not being with you. She cupped his face, and he leaned into her touch like he was starving for it. I trust you, Min-jae. I want this. I want you. Something fierce and tender flooded his expression. Then I'll make it perfect for you. I promise. And he did. He undressed her slowly, reverently, like he was unwrapping something precious. Kissed every inch of skin he revealed. When she reached for him, he let her explore, let her learn the planes of his chest, the way he shuddered when she touched certain places. He laid her back on the bed, covered her body with his, the weight of him both overwhelming and right. You're so beautiful, he murmured against her neck. I've wanted this for so long. Wanted you. Then take me, she breathed. He kissed down her body, took his time learning what made her gasp, what made her arch. When he finally moved between her legs, he held her gaze, one hand cradling her face. I love you, he said, the words falling from his lips like a confession. I know it's too soon, I know I shouldn't say it yet, but I do. I love you, Zara. Tears pricked her eyes. I love you too. He kissed her as he pushed inside, slowly, carefully, holding her through the initial discomfort. Breathe, he whispered. Just breathe. I've got you. The pain faded into something else, something that built and built until she was clinging to him, moving with him, lost in sensation and emotion and the profound intimacy of being connected like this. Sarangi, he murmured in Korean, then English again. I love you. So much. She shattered in his arms, and he followed her over, face buried in her neck, body shaking with the force of it. They lay tangled together after, hearts gradually slowing. He traced patterns on her spine, pressed kisses to her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. Are you okay? He asked softly. Did I hurt you? No. It was perfect. You were perfect. He smiled against her hair. Stay with me tonight. Let me hold you. I'm not going anywhere. They made love again as dawn approached, slower this time, sweeter, both of them savoring every touch, every whispered word. When exhaustion finally claimed them, she fell asleep in his arms, happier than she'd ever been. She woke to an empty bed and the sound of Min-jae's voice in the bathroom, speaking rapid Korean. The tone made her uneasy. She wrapped herself in the sheet, moved closer to the door. When he emerged, his face was different. Closed off. The man who'd worshipped her body hours ago had been replaced by a stranger. Min-jae? What's wrong? He wouldn't meet her eyes. Get dressed. I'll call you a car. Her stomach dropped. What? Why? Last night was a mistake. His voice was flat, emotionless. A mistake? She couldn't breathe. You said you loved me. I lied. Finally, he looked at her, and his eyes were cold, empty. I'm gay, Zara. I'm getting married next week to a man. Junho. We've been engaged for 6 months. The room spun. You're lying. You can't be, we just. It was a test. He turned away, started gathering his things. I needed to be sure about my sexuality. And now I am. Thank you for helping me confirm it. A test? The words came out broken. You took my virginity as a test? I'm sorry if you misunderstood what this was. But he didn't sound sorry. He sounded done. The car will be here in 10 minutes. You should get dressed. Pride was the only thing holding her together. She dressed quickly, hands shaking so badly she could barely work the buttons. He didn't try to stop her. Didn't explain. Just stood there like a statue as she walked past him and out of the hotel room. The car ride back to her apartment was a blur. She made it inside before she shattered, crumpling on her bathroom floor, his scent still on her skin, her body still carrying the phantom feel of his touch. He'd said he loved her. He'd made her feel cherished, precious, wanted. All of it had been a lie. Subscribe and hit that notification bell because this story is just getting started and you won't want to miss what happens next. Zara called in sick for 3 days. When she finally returned to work, Min-jae wasn't there. His secretary said he was working from home, finalizing wedding plans. The words made her physically ill. She threw herself into work, into pretending she was fine, into rebuilding the walls he'd demolished. Her colleagues noticed she'd changed but were too polite to ask. Except Daniel from accounting. Rough week? He asked, appearing beside her desk with coffee. Something like that. Well, a bunch of us are grabbing drinks after work. You should come. Might help. She almost said no. But sitting alone in her apartment sounded worse than making small talk. Sure. Why not? The bar was loud and crowded, full of coworkers letting loose after a long week. Zara nursed a drink and tried to laugh at jokes, tried to pretend her heart wasn't in pieces. You've been distracted all night, Daniel said, leaning closer to be heard over the noise. His hand landed on her shoulder, warm and innocent. Then Min-jae was there. He appeared like a storm, crossing the bar in 4 strides, eyes locked on Daniel's hand. Before anyone could react, he had Daniel by the collar, slammed him against the bar. Don't touch her, Min-jae snarled, voice barely human. Jesus, man, I was just. Min-jae's fist connected with Daniel's jaw. Then again. And again. It took 3 people to pull him off, and by then Daniel was on the floor, nose gushing blood, probably broken. Zara stood frozen as Min-jae's wild eyes found hers. Blood spattered his knuckles. His chest heaved. Min-jae, what the hell, someone started. But he was already gone, disappearing into the soul night. Daniel went to the hospital. Zara went home and threw up. The next day, the office buzzed with rumors. Min-jae had been suspended pending an investigation. Some said he was having a breakdown. Others whispered about the engagement, about family pressure. No one mentioned Zara. No one connected her to his explosion. Except Min-jae. He showed up at her apartment that night. She opened the door to find him standing there, blood from a split lip staining his white shirt, eyes wild and dark and burning with something that made her knees weak even as rage tore through her chest. You don't get to be here, she said, voice shaking. You don't get to show up at my apartment after what you did. He touched you. Min-jae's voice was rough, barely controlled. That bastard from accounting put his hands on you. So you put him in the hospital? Zara's laugh came out broken. You're getting married in 4 days, Min-jae. To a man. Because you're gay, remember? Or was that another lie? Something flickered across his face, dangerous and desperate. He stepped forward. She stepped back. Stay away from me, she whispered. I can't. His hand came up, dropped. God help me, Zara, I can't. You need to leave. Not until you understand. Understand what? That you used me? That you made me believe you loved me just so you could test your sexuality? Tears streamed down her face. Get out. Please, just let me explain. No. She shoved him, and he let her push him back toward the door. You don't get to explain. You don't get to make this better. You took something I can never get back. You said you loved me. And it was all a lie. It wasn't a lie, he said desperately. Zara, please. Get out. Her voice was steel. Get out and don't come back. Go marry your fiancé and leave me alone. He looked at her for a long moment, something like anguish in his eyes. Then he turned and left, the door closing behind him with a finality that made her sink to the floor. She didn't cry this time. She was too empty, too broken. She just sat there until dawn, trying to figure out how to survive this. But Min-jae didn't stay away. 2 days later, she had coffee with James from marketing. Just coffee, just two co-workers taking a break. Min-jae watched from across the street, she saw him through the cafe window. When James walked her back to the office, Min-jae was suddenly there, blocking their path. We need to talk, he said, voice tight, eyes only on Zara. We have nothing to talk about. His hand closed around her wrist, gentle but firm. 5 minutes. Please. James looked between them, confused. Zara, is this guy bothering you? She's fine, Min-jae said, not breaking eye contact with her. This is private. I'll go, Zara told James, more to spare him than anything. She'd seen what Min-jae's jealousy looked like. He led her to an alley beside the building, away from curious eyes. The moment they were alone, his composure cracked. What are you doing? Having coffee. Is that illegal now? With him? You're having coffee with him? Why do you care? She jerked her wrist free. You're getting married tomorrow, Min-jae. To a man. Because you're gay. So what I do and who I do it with is none of your business. Stop saying that. His voice dropped dangerously low. Saying what? That you're gay? But that's what you told me, isn't it? That I was just a test? It was a lie. The confession exploded out of him. All of it was a lie. I'm not gay. I've never been gay. And that night wasn't a test of my sexuality. The world tilted. What? He dragged a hand through his hair, looking more unraveled than she'd ever seen him. Junho is my childhood best friend. The marriage is fake. A cover for both of us. His parents are as traditional as mine, and he's in love with someone they'd never accept. We made a deal years ago. Safety and pretense. I don't understand. My family would never accept you, Zara. Pain bled through every word. Not because you're black, though that wouldn't help. But because you're not from their world. Not Korean. Not chosen by them. They've had my life planned since birth. The right schools, the right company, the right marriage. I've never deviated. Never rebelled. Until me. Until you. He moved closer, and she let him, hypnotized by the truth finally spilling out. You terrified me. What I felt for you, it was too much. Too real. So I panicked. I had that night with you, and it was perfect, and I woke up and thought about what choosing you would mean. The fights with my family. Potentially being cut off. Disappointing everyone. And I was a coward. Tears burned her eyes. So you hurt me instead. Yes. I hurt you because I was too weak to hurt them. And I've regretted it every moment since. His hand came up, cupped her face. But I can't stop thinking about you. Can't stop wanting you. Can't stand the thought of you with anyone else. You can't have it both ways, she said, even as she leaned into his touch. You can't marry him and keep me on the side. I know. His thumb brushed away a tear. God, I know. And I'm still not brave enough to do what I should. Not brave enough to call off the wedding, face my family, lose everything I've ever known. Then let me go. It took everything she had to say it. Stop showing up. Stop hurting people who look at me. Let me move on. I can't. His forehead pressed against hers. I've tried. But you're in my blood, Zara. And I don't know how to cut you out. Min-jae. His name was a sob. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. For all of it. He pulled back, and the loss of his warmth felt like dying. The wedding is tomorrow. It's too late to stop it without causing a massive scandal that would hurt Junho too. But after, when the dust settles, I'll find a way out. However long it takes. And then, if you'll still have me, I'll fight for you the way I should have from the beginning. That could take years. I know. And I have no right to ask you to wait. But I'm asking anyway. He kissed her forehead, soft and reverent. Sarangi, Zara. That was never a lie. He left her standing in the alley, heart racing, mind spinning. She should have been angry. Should have told him to go to hell. But hope was a vicious thing, and it had sunk its claws in deep. Comment below if you think Zara should wait or run, and don't forget to like this video. The day of the wedding arrived. Zara had told herself she wouldn't go, wouldn't torture herself. But she found herself outside the venue anyway, a beautiful traditional hall in Gangnam, expensive cars arriving one after another. She stayed across the street, hidden in a cafe, watching through the window like a ghost haunting her own heartbreak. Min-jae arrived in a black hanbok, looking devastating and miserable. Junho appeared minutes later, handsome and smiling, waving to guests. They looked perfect together, like they'd stepped out of a magazine. Zara's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number, *, don't come. Please. It'll only hurt more. MJ*. So he knew she was here. Knew she couldn't stay away. She almost listened, almost left. But then an older couple arrived, clearly Min-jae's parents based on how everyone bowed. His father was stern, imperious. His mother, elegant and cold. These were the people Min-jae was too afraid to disappoint. Her phone rang. She answered. Don't watch this, Min-jae said without preamble. Go home, Zara. Please. Why did you tell me? Her voice shook. Why tell me the truth if you're just going to marry him anyway? Because I'm weak. Because I wanted you to know that what we had was real, even if I'm not strong enough to choose it. That's not fair. I know. Nothing about this is fair. Especially not to you. He paused. I have to go back inside. They're looking for me. Min-jae. She didn't know what she wanted to say. Sarangi, he said softly. Then he hung up. She watched him disappear back into the hall. She should leave. Should let this be the end. But her feet carried her across the street. Into the building. A worker directed her to the ceremony hall. She slipped in the back, invisible in the crowd of hundreds. The ceremony was traditional, all silk and ritual she didn't understand. Min-jae and Junho stood at the front, bowing to each other, to their parents. Min-jae's face was a mask, giving nothing away. Until his eyes found her in the crowd. Everything stopped. His breath, his movement, his careful composure. For a moment, she thought he might stop the ceremony, might run to her. But then Junho touched his arm, and Min-jae turned away. She left before the ceremony ended, stumbled out into Seoul's bright afternoon. It was done. He'd made his choice. Her phone rang again. This time it was Junho. Hello? Zara? Min-jae gave me your number. Can we meet? There's a cafe 2 blocks from the venue. She should say no. But curiosity won. Fine. 20 minutes. Junho was already there when she arrived, still in his wedding hanbok. He stood when he saw her, bowed slightly. Thank you for coming. Why am I here? Because Min-jae loves you, and he's an idiot, and someone needs to tell you the whole truth. He gestured to a chair. She sat reluctantly. The marriage has an expiration date. 6 months. That's all we agreed to. Long enough to satisfy our families, short enough to not ruin our lives. Her heart stuttered. 6 months? We have a plan. I'll move to Singapore for a job, sight distance, and incompatibility. Divorce quietly. It happens. He leaned forward. He's going to fight for you, Zara. This isn't him giving up. It's him buying time. Why are you telling me this? Because I know what it's like to hide who you love. And because Min-jae is my brother in every way that matters, and I've never seen him like this. Don't disappear on him. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I don't know if I can forgive him. I'm not asking you to. Not yet. Just don't leave Seoul. Give him the 6 months. Junho stood. He's never said I love you to anyone before. You're the first. He left her sitting there, hope and hurt warring in her chest. 6 months. Could she wait 6 months? She didn't leave Seoul. Didn't block his number. She waited. The first week was silence. Then, I know I don't deserve updates. But I need you to know I'm counting. 179 days left, The next week, my parents want us to move in together. I said no. Junho is handling it. 172 days, Then, saw you at the office today. You looked beautiful. I wanted to talk to you so badly. 164 days, He kept texting. Brief updates, reminders that the clock was ticking. She never responded, but she read every single one. At work, they orbited each other carefully. Professional, distant. But she'd catch him staring, see the hunger in his eyes before he looked away. 2 months in, Daniel returned to work. Min-jae kept his distance this time, but she saw his hands clench every time Daniel spoke to her. That night, he showed up at her door. He's pressing charges, Min-jae said. Assault. My lawyer says community service, maybe probation. Good. You deserve it. I know. He stepped closer. 121 days, Zara. And then I'm yours. Completely. Why should I believe that? He pulled out his phone, showed her emails, documents. I've already filed preliminary paperwork. Told my parents I'm unhappy. I'm building the case so when it happens, it won't shock anyone. She wanted to believe him. Actions, Min-jae. Not words. I will. I promise. 3 months in, she saw him at a company dinner. He sat with Junho, playing the dutiful husband. But when a drunk client got handsy with her, Min-jae was there instantly. The lady said no, he said quietly, voice carrying threat. The client backed off. Everyone stared. Min-jae met Zara's eyes across the room. I'm still yours. 4 months in, Junho left for Singapore. Min-jae's mother called a family meeting. He came to her apartment after, exhausted. Can I come in? Just to talk. She let him in. They sat on opposite ends of her couch. I told them today, he said. About you. Not your name, but that I love someone they wouldn't approve of. A woman. Her breath caught. What did they say? Threatened to disown me. Cut me off. His smile was sad. I said that was their choice. Min-jae, that's what you deserved from the beginning. He reached out, caught himself. 56 days. And then I'm going to court you properly. Show everyone you're mine. If you'll have me. I don't know, she whispered. You hurt me so badly. I know. And I'll spend forever making up for it. He stood. Thank you for listening. At the door, he paused. I love you. That's never changed. 5 months in, the divorce was finalized. He showed up with the papers. It's done. I'm free. Your family? Still not speaking to me. My father removed me from projects. But I have a job offer from a competitor. Better pay, more autonomy. He handed her the papers. I'm building a life where I can choose you. She took them, hands shaking. I'm scared you'll run again. He cupped her face. I won't. I swear. I'm done being a coward. Kiss me, she whispered. He did, and it was like coming home. She pulled him inside, and they tumbled onto her couch. Wait, he gasped. I want to do this right. Dates first. You've been earning me for 5 months, she said. Now I just want you. He surrendered, and they made love right there, slower and sweeter, both crying and laughing and holding each other. After, wrapped together, he whispered, move in with me. It's too fast. It's been 8 months since I fell in love with you. He kissed her temple. But I'll wait. Ask me in a month. He smiled. I'll want you in a month. In 50 years. Prove it. 1 month later, by the Han River at sunset, he asked again. Move in with me. Let me love you out loud. She turned to face him, this man who'd broken her and rebuilt them both. Yes. His smile could have lit the city. He kissed her as people walked past, as everything finally fell into place. 6 months later, he took her to meet his parents. They were cold, but Min-jae held her hand through dinner. They'll come around or they won't. But I'm not giving you up. A year after that terrible morning, they woke up together in his apartment. He was watching her with so much love. Good morning, he murmured. Good morning. Marry me, he said suddenly. What? He sat up, pulled her with him. I know it's only been a year since we got back together. But I'm sure. Marry me. Let me spend my life making up for the time I wasted. Tears streamed down her face. You're serious. Completely. I don't have a ring yet. But I can't wait. He kissed her knuckles. Say yes. She thought about the journey that brought them here. The pain and growth and hard-won happiness. Yes, she whispered. Yes. 3 months later, they married in a small ceremony. Junho was there with his partner. Some of Min-jae's cousins came. Zara's mother flew from Atlanta. Min-jae's parents didn't come. But as he slipped the ring on, he whispered, no regrets. No regrets, she agreed. 2 years later, there was a knock at their door. Zara opened it to find Min-jae's mother standing there, older than she remembered, uncertain. Mrs. Park, Zara said, shocked. May I come in? Her Korean was formal. Zara's had gotten better, but they'd always struggled to communicate. Of course. She stepped aside, mind racing. Min-jae was working late. They hadn't seen his parents since the wedding they'd boycotted. Mrs. Park sat stiffly on the couch, hands folded. I came to apologize. Zara nearly dropped the tea she was preparing. I'm sorry? For how I treated you. For how we treated Min-jae. The older woman's eyes were wet. We were wrong. I was wrong. I let pride and tradition blind me to my son's happiness. Mrs. Park. Please. Let me finish. She took a shaky breath. I saw you together. Last week. At the park. You were laughing, and he was looking at you the way my husband used to look at me before life made us hard. And I realized I'd thrown away 2 years with my son because I was too stubborn to accept that he found love in an unexpected place. Tears burned Zara's eyes. He misses you. He won't say it, but I know he does. I miss him too. Every day. Mrs. Park reached across the space between them, took Zara's hand. Will you forgive a foolish old woman? Will you let me try to be part of your lives? It's not my forgiveness you need, Zara said gently. It's his. I know. But I wanted to start with you. To tell you that I see now what he saw from the beginning. You're strong and kind and you love my son. That's all that should have mattered. The door opened. Min-jae walked in, froze when he saw his mother. His voice cracked on the word. Mother. Mrs. Park stood, trembling. Min-jae, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He looked at Zara. She nodded, tears streaming. He crossed to his mother and pulled her into his arms, and they both wept, years of hurt and pride finally breaking apart. Later, after his mother left with promises to return, to meet for dinner, to try, Min-jae held Zara close. Thank you, he whispered. For being strong enough for both of us when I couldn't be. For waiting. For believing in me. Thank you for fighting, she said. For choosing love over fear. For proving people can change. He kissed her softly. I love you. Every day, more than the day before. Sarangi, she said in Korean, and his smile was radiant. For years after that terrible morning, Zara stood in their bathroom staring at a positive pregnancy test. Her hands shook as she walked to the living room where Min-jae was reviewing blueprints. I have something to tell you, she said. He looked up, saw her face, was on his feet instantly. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. She handed him the test. Everything's right. He stared at it, at her, at it again. Then he was laughing and crying and lifting her off her feet, spinning her around their living room. We're having a baby, he said, wonder in his voice. We're having a baby. Are you happy? Happy? He set her down, cupped her face. Zara, I'm terrified and thrilled and so grateful I could burst. You've given me everything. A real marriage. A real family. A real life. We gave each other that, she corrected. Their daughter was born 9 months later with Min-jae's eyes and Zara's smile. His parents came to the hospital, his mother weeping over her first grandchild, his father's stern face finally softening. What will you name her? His father asked, voice rough with emotion. Min-jae looked at Zara. They'd discussed this, agreed. Hope. Her English name is Hope. Her Korean name is Harin. Because she's our precious gift. The result of choosing hope over fear. 5 years after the morning that broke them, they were whole. Scarred, yes. Changed, absolutely. But whole. That night, with Hope sleeping peacefully in her nursery, Zara and Min-jae lay tangled together in the dark. Do you ever think about that morning? She asked quietly. When you told me it was a test? Every day, he admitted. I think about what a coward I was. How close I came to losing you forever. Do you regret it? The path we took to get here? He was quiet for a long moment. I regret hurting you. But the path taught me things I needed to learn. About courage. About what matters. About fighting for love even when it's terrifying. He kissed her forehead. I just wish I'd learned those lessons without breaking your heart first. We both survived, she said softly. That has to count for something. It counts for everything. He pulled her closer. I love you, Zara Park. Thank you for giving a coward a chance to become brave. I love you too. Thank you for proving love is worth the fight. Outside, Seoul glittered in the darkness, the same city where they'd met, where they'd broken, where they'd healed. Inside, they held each other and their sleeping daughter, a family built on hard truths and harder choices and love that refused to die. It hadn't been easy. It hadn't been simple. But it had been worth it. Every single painful, beautiful moment had been worth it. If this story moved you, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what you thought. Subscribe so you never miss another story, because love isn't always easy but it's always worth fighting for. Thanks for sticking with Zara and Min-jae until the very end. Their journey was messy and real, and exactly what happens when two broken people choose to heal together. See you in the next story.